be in the news for the things that LeBron has been in as frequently.
I don't want to talk about it.
From the Sunshine State, the great state of Florida, and what does your Uncle Charlotte always say? The craziest people in America come from the Bronx and all of Florida.
I'm Bay Bubba cross my black car. It's booby traps and pit bulls cross my backyard. I'm still strapped, boy, these handguns on Vanguard. I like going against the grain cause my head hard. Bay, I used to thug hard to see this crack hard. I don't thug nothing but the motherfucking task force. Me and Tyreke running shit, we like the fat boys. Paid cash for it, so I try this and fast forward. I put it all in your face like you asked for. Most of you love frontin' like the dashboard. I get it chalked out like the blackboard. I got the ghetto off glass like the backboard. Most of my niggas ride till it ain't no gas for. We been outside like ain't no map for. Been outside like ain't no map for.
I swear to God, these motherfucking jits in Florida is different. Man, I was at this house the other night. Gave her little son one melatonin, thinking this little motherfucker gonna go to sleep. Hell no, the little motherfucker ain't go to sleep. I ended up giving this little the whole goddamn bottle. He ate them all. It was up all motherfucking night. I ain't getting
I'm
no
in all
peace.
white ones. Picture could get me a Cy Young. We feel like nuns. No giving like Spice One. We feel like bums. Don't change that I might run. Feel like buns. Shit sit when the price jump. I got white bumps. These bags kill it price plump. You only die once. I know you a snake with a sliced tongue. I can't trust you. I'ma dust you. Ain't no checking temperature. It's you, then it's you. These laws I'm stuck to. You know how many 12-12s I run through? My get cut, but my girlfriends get cut loose. My get hit like kung fu. I love the streets, but they never told me I love you.
Yeah, I already know. I'm straight from Florida, G. You know, bottom of the motherfucking map. Home of motherfucking Uncle Luke. Home of Trick Daddy. Home of Kodak Black. Nothing but gold teeth, wigs, and motherfucking sticks. You already know. Bottom of the map. FLA. Shaped like a motherfucking Hezbollah. Have you, want it? I ain't got no damn business at church. Cause all I be doing is looking at damn prints in that bitch. I'm talking about, man. You know how up it is? Like, you ever got hard in church before? Like, ain't that some shit? You get hard in church when you in that, like, you know you wrong. You know you wrong, but...
No, but like I said, this is y'all show. Like, you know, when y'all come to Ace, y'all be like, hey, Will, let me grab that mic for me real quick. You know what, I'm going to look at y'all?
These are not an Ace League jersey. You don't have to wear them. You know what I mean?
I'm glad you know.
We're very informal here.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah,
all right. You see, I got the
man,
little boy
is,
shorts on. You know how to
we
go.
We just here vibing, man.
Bottoms up with the corona.
Welcome back. You guys are back on the Bench Podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. We are available on all, and I do mean all, podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. We got a very good show for you guys today. First of all, we have Ace League director and Will Lee, friend of the show now. He's been here multiple times. He promised me he was coming on, and he came through on that promise.
My man, I'm here.
Okay, and of course we have ex-NBA player, ex-Orange County legend here, Chucky Atkins here in the building. Okay, actually from my neighborhood, neck of the woods, Edenville, Winter Park, so definitely love to have him on. What's going on, Chuck?
Nothing much, man. Appreciate you having me, brother.
All right. Now, we're going to be talking today about the Ace League, of course, which is right around the corner. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to have this LeBron James. He's in the news today talking about ring culture, NBA Finals, and a lot more stuff, man. A lot more stuff in the world of sports going on. You know, usually I start off with something that I had on my mind, and I'm glad you guys are in because this was actually on my mind today. Okay. Now, I'm sure that you can take a lot of, you know, you can see what Ice Cube is doing with the Big Three, and you can see a lot of positives. You can see the challenges and have a level of like respect and stuff for it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And as that is going along, I had a thought of, damn, what if it's bad luck and bad timing? Because it looks to me that this 1v1 thing that's sprouting up is going to overtake anything else that's under the NBA. I found myself enjoying the last one with the last two guys.
Lance Stevenson.
Yeah,
and,
Lance Stevenson and Mike Beasley.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that more than any Big Three game that I've ever seen. What's y'all take on that? What you know what I mean? What do you think this 1v1 thing can go?
You want to take that first, or you want me to get it?
I mean, I think the sky's the limit, man. You gotta understand, basketball has many variety of aspects to it, right? You got 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 4-on-4, 5-on-5, and whatever floats your boat. That's kind of what it is. You got guys now, ex-NBA players. One thing about those guys, they love basketball. Each one of those guys think that they're the best things since sliced bread. And, Michael Beasley feels like he's one of the best basketball players who didn't get his just due when he was playing in the league. So for him, the only way that he can get, his retribution is by playing one-on-one right now, and he's a heck of a one-on-one player. So, he's calling guys out. As far as what the people in the media want to see, it's just like boxing, right? Boxing, one individual gets in the ring against another. So if they can make that happen and people are going to show out and going to spend their dollars to come see it, I think it's going to work just like boxing would.
Mm. I like that. Just like boxing.
No. I mean, I agree 1,000%. It's really now the latest hit trend. Right. It's that because I even seen in the latest video, Kyrie was out there supporting the videos, and he's been talking about it a lot as well. So that's something that we've been doing since the beginning of basketball. Like, every real hooper you king of the court is mano, 3 dribble, you know what I'm saying? Let's get it done, And so I respect the game, but I also do understand that there's a lot of elements to that is missing. Like, do you know how to play within a team format? And a lot of these guys struggle with that, and that's why they are focusing on themselves. And I'm not knocking them. I'm not, you know what I mean? But we know in team basketball, that's real basketball, because now you have to work, being cooperative with every different element of the game, teammates, coaches, officials, even bad officials. Right. You have to figure out it's a bigger chess match. Right. Than to sit there and play one person.
Yeah, I find 5-on-5, that's the game for me.
Yeah,
everything else is just kind of, practice, as far as that goes. And I think, the clips I saw, the Beasley Stevens thing, those motherfuckers just should have wrestled. Right. Like, it was just a bunch of physical nonsense. That's not appealing to me.
I think a lot of times when you're dealing with, especially now, ex-NBA basketball players, people always just ask me, how come you didn't try to go out for the Big Three? And I'm like, man, I'm at a point now where I ain't finna be out there just wrestling with guys. Right. I'm way past that point. Yeah, of course. So now when you're watching these guys with one-on-one, it's like, okay, cool. What I don't want is the younger generation to realize that, yes, one-on-one is a part of basketball, and that's how you perfect some of your crafts, right? But the ultimate game in basketball is a team game, and you have to understand how to play and how to overcome the obstacles of all the dynamics with having other guys that can play, refereeing, coaching, understanding, hey, man, sometimes things may not go your way at a specific time, and you got to stay the course. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
5-on-5 pretty much exemplifies everything in society. You got to be accountable. You got to be responsible. You got to be able to stand up and be there with, and understand and accept. Sometimes you got to accept your role.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that you just said that, because I have felt for probably 15 years that you can tell a person's soul by playing pickup basketball with them. Because, are they unselfish? Are they a stand-up person? Are they a score cheater? Are they a shit foul caller? Do they find the role that they need to play with the people that are on the court with them? It is, to me, like a window into the soul of a person. And I've written people off as human beings because of the way they play pickup basketball. And I'm dead serious.
No, I know you are.
I don't, that's the thing.
That's not, see, y'all, but
you've been on the edge, my fan.
Now, and that's 100% real now, but y'all comparing the 5-on-5 NBA to the 1v1. I'm asking about, because see, I think with every major sport, the NFL tried it with the XFL, like the secondary sport behind the NBA, behind the 5-on-5, right? That's why we thought like, okay, 3v3 ice scoop. Damn, that's a good idea. Like NBA players, I'm saying, can the 1v1 overtake that and be like the number one under the NBA? So I guess the number two. Can it grow to that?
I think it could. I think it could because I think that you got a lot of guys out there. Like I would pay to see a Jamal Crawford play one-on-one against somebody. Yeah. Because when I played against him, he was amazing.
Jamal versus Lou Will. Like I'd pay to see that.
Like, I would pay to see
battle of the six man.
I would pay to see ISO Joe Johnson play against anybody.
Yeah.
You see, you heard what ISO just said though.
Yeah.
ISO, because Michael called ISO out.
If the money's right, we can make it happen.
He was like, make the money right. I mean, he called Carmelo out too.
There's a lot of guys that were phenomenal one-on-one players that played a role on their specific NBA teams that I would pay to watch those guys play because I'm an NBA. I'm a fan of basketball.
Period.
First of all,
yeah.
So, hey man, a guy like Michael Beasley who didn't necessarily get his just due, would I pay to see him play one-on? Absolutely, I would.
Yeah.
But
you know what I'm saying?
But don't we believe that this is more so of because we've been doing this. If you're from the block, you know that you've been doing the one-on-one and it's wrestling matches, and it's a blood sport. People betting on games and everything else. So I think that that's what the culture of this one-on-one is really bringing back. Yeah, it's bringing back ruggedness. It's bringing back. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's bringing something back. But what the different dynamic is to bring higher level guys into it. Well, there's been dudes playing 1v1 and shooting videos that are not these guys. Now, when you're putting in these guys that we all know are at a really elite level and have a name and a following,
this is what I like about the 1v1. Right? Everybody has this thing of, man, I should have been in the NBA. I didn't get my opportunity. I didn't get my chance. Of course. Right? So now when you start talking 1v1, you don't just cap it off at NBA players. Every neighborhood has a guy that can play, that can hoop. Hey, let's get those guys involved. Everybody want to see what it's like to be a player against an NBA basketball player. Let's get them involved. Would people come out and see that? Right? No differently than you go see Jake Paul fight against an ex-champion, right? Yeah, I would see it.
I agree.
Just for shits and giggles, whether or not
it has that element to it.
It has that element.
It has that element to it.
My league is predicated off of a lot of retired NBA guys, or maybe you just paid 3 or 4 years in the league or whatever. So my league is predicated off of a lot of those guys playing against some of the overseas pros, like you said, who believe that they should have got their shot. Yeah. You know what I mean? And now it creates great basketball, if we be quite honest. You know what I mean? Because you're competing harder in a different way, but to the point of I don't see that happening with current NBA players because you're not going to want to damage your brand. Like if you're known as like the easy money sniper and you get beat by the 12th man on the Grizzlies bench in a one-on-one contest, that's not going to be a good look for the brand.
I don't think that the 1v1 is for guys that are currently playing.
No, I agree.
I think 1v1 is just like the big three. This for guys who are towards the end of their careers that still love the game, that still trying to play, and they're still
big enough tickets that you can still draw attention. Yeah.
So for them, those guys are on their last leg, and hey man, I would see a ISO Joe play against a guy who thought that they were good enough to play in the league, and let's see where you stand up at. Yeah. If the money's right, make it right. Right. And for the other guys, hey man, ISO Joe versus Michael Beasley, I pay to see that. Absolutely.
Would you believe that? What number would you believe would be worth it to somebody like ISO Joe? Because a lot of the guys who are at his caliber, they're not worried about money at this point.
I wouldn't cap it off. I wouldn't cap it off at any number because you don't cap off a boxing match at any number.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is why, because like ISO said that
what would be the minimum number?
Yes, to make him
500,000.
To make it worth. You see what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Because
that's what he said too.
Well, because you got to look at it from that standpoint. Look at it from the standpoint of if you are ISO Joe and you have this reputation and you just so happen to lose to a street ball legend from here in Orlando, Florida, right?
That could happen.
that actually damages your brand a little bit.
Like
if you think about it,
Joe, I
because
think
you're
for
still
current NBA players,
you're
yes.
still doing
Okay,
camps.
let me ask you a question.
A lot of these guys are still doing camps. A lot of these guys are still trying to galvanize money afterwards.
So everybody that Jake Paul beat, that
well past their prime.
That's what I'm saying. So
but it was a bad look, like for Anderson Silva and all that.
Joe is past his prime.
Yes,
so
all
I see
these
where you
guys
going.
are past their prime.
So I don't think that it'll be like Joe Johnson said, man. Hey, listen, man. I got 20,000 points in this game at the highest level.
No.
Ain't but 50-something people that got the same credentials that I have.
No
You
question.
know how crazy that is?
But see, here's the element.
So
in
if
which
he lose to anybody, it don't matter. Hey, man, you beat me
we
and I
say
wasn't
that,
at my best.
We say that, but that's not entirely true because just 2 years ago.
Hey, guess what? And I'm speaking, and I shouldn't do this, but I love Joe Johnson. I'm a huge fan. Right now, as good as Joe Johnson is, he's the sorriest he's ever been.
And I mean, that was, what is he, 45, probably, something like that?
Hey, listen, whoever he plays 1v1, I can promise you and I can assure you, they don't want to see the 25, 22, 23-year-old Joe Johnson. I can promise you.
And I get that. But I guess that's to my point. But just 2 years ago, we seen a big event. I heard y'all bring up Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Jake Paul beat Mike Tyson. Now let that sink in. That is one of the boxing legends.
Did he beat 22-year-old Mike?
But no. But what I'm saying is exactly. So now we have to all sit back and say, "Oh well, you couldn't beat him then." And I remember what was the climate after that fight. Y'all remember what the climate was? It was like, man, Tyson looked it real bad out there. That knee looked like it was shot. Like now that's going to be one of our lasting memories of Mike Tyson.
I hate that I watched it.
You see what I'm saying? You hate that you watched it. You see what I'm saying? So
I didn't watch it.
And you didn't even watch it. And that's one of the biggest names in boxing.
I will never watch anything that fucker does except for his funeral.
Okay, so think about this. If Joe Johnson plays anybody, he has an opportunity to say, man, I ain't at my best right now. I don't want to do it, or let's do it.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson had that same ability.
Yeah.
That's the money. It's money driven.
If he jumped up there and he fought that man, he didn't give a damn about his legacy.
Yeah.
Well, I guess my point is that if you're telling, Joe has already said it's about the money. Yeah. So he's saying that you.
No, he didn't say it's all about the money.
You got to make the money, make the money right.
I'm not going to jump out there if you give me a lackluster offer.
But that's saying it's about the number.
Level, so let's do it.
But he's not being called out, though. He's not being. I can see if he was being called out by somebody from the street, but he's being called out by somebody who is recognized as a legitimate NBA player. He was the number 2 pick in the NBA draft. So it's not like he's being called out not by somebody that's not his peer.
So make it right.
Let me ask y'all this, because this is going to lead to my next topic. And after the next topic, we're going to get a healthy dose of this H League. Okay. Do you believe Beasley when he say he beat LeBron all them times in practice?
Yes.
I do.
You do?
Yes.
Both of y'all do.
Yeah, I do. You're talking about one-on-one games. Yeah. Remember, we just said that's 2 different sports.
So think about this.
One-on-one and 5-on-5 is 2 different sports.
Just because he beat somebody one-on-one don't make him the better player. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he one-on-one is a totally different animal than 5-on-5. If we playing 5-on-5 and you ask anybody, if you want to pick LeBron James or you want to pick Michael Beasley, you're probably gonna pick LeBron.
Yeah.
But one-on-one, yeah, he probably beat him one-on. Yeah, I've seen that on plenty of teams I've been on.
I wish he would address it, because like Evan Turner came out on the podcast and was talking about how many times he beat Jason Tatum in one-on-one in practice. Mm-hmm. But Jason Tatum came back and he was on one of the podcasts with Teague and them, and he was like, "That's a damn lie." You know what I mean?
Because it hurts his brand, though.
Yeah.
It really does. You can at most parlors, they're saying Jason Tatum's a top 10 player in the NBA currently.
Yeah.
To hear somebody like, Evan Turner, who was a number 2 pick too as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Was he out of Ohio State, I believe it was?
Ohio State.
So he was a good player, but he would never materialize into the player that Jason Tatum is.
And he was older.
Yeah. But to hear that, guess what that does?
And that's what and that's another thing that you have to sometimes take into consideration, right? Hey man, I'm older than you. I'm stronger than you. Like, you got to understand, NBA, it's not boys. You got grown ass men that's out there, that's strong as an ox. That's like, hey man, I can put you in a situation where I don't give a damn how good you is, how talented you is. If you ain't got no help, you in a bad situation.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Facts.
Yeah.
No, that's big facts. All right. So, go ahead.
To circle back to your point, I do think, while I'm not a fan of either the big 3 or one-on-one, I do think kind of the mano-a-mano dynamic has more upside to attract attention than the 3v3 format. That's my take on that.
I can see that.
Yeah, and that's kind of my point to bringing it up because I think so. I think so. Q might want to get in on that stock too over there.
Yeah, he should.
You don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to just stay over there. All right. Now, again, and the reason why I brought that up to say about Beasley and Braun is because Braun has been in the news today. Of course, on his Mind the Game podcast was Nash and was saying how the ring culture is weird to him. And one of the main quotes everybody's talking about is Allen Iverson, my guy, Barkley, Nash, like, they can't be talked about or discussed with other guys because this guy won one ring or 2 rings. It's just weird to me about the whole ring culture thing here. All right, now who wants to lead off on this here? With LeBron comments here.
I will. I think that I don't understand it, and maybe I don't understand the context in which he said it from, because I'm just now seeing this. But as a basketball player, we all play the game to win, right? Hey, LeBron. I think that you made some decisions based off of winning championships. I think that's why you left Cleveland from the beginning, right? So it's not saying that because a guy didn't win a ring that they're not great players, but just like we all know, you can't be considered the GOAT of one of the tops if you don't have a ring. That's just a part of every league, right? Hey man, Charles Barkley was a hell of a basketball player. Allen Iverson, Steve Nash, they're all Hall of Fame guys, right? But are you going to compare Steve Nash to Magic Johnson?
No, but can I compare Charles Barkley to Kevin Garnett?
You possibly could. Could you compare him to Tim Duncan?
No.
Why?
No, because team success.
That's my point.
But that's once again, that's not individual greatness. So that's team success.
But we're not talking
And
about
yes.
basketball. Ain't an individual sport.
No.
Basketball is a team sport.
Exactly.
So you're based off of how your team does.
Okay, but that also lies on the reliability of everyone doing their job. There has
Including
never
the
been
front office.
Yes, including the front office.
So you're gonna cry about what's not being done, or are you gonna cry about what's happening?
No, instead I'm gonna just leave.
It's not. Even,
Okay. Well, okay. So why is it weird then?
No.
Okay.
Why is it weird?
See,
I got somebody being weird.
I got
okay.
you.
Pink, did you want to go?
Why is it weird?
No, I think
I
I think it's disingenuous on him to say that. If it's just some benign way of complimenting a couple of those guys, but the reality is nobody in that category is ever pushing anybody's top 10 all time. That's all the guys that are decorated with multiple titles. And that's just the reality of how we appreciate the game and appreciate accomplishments in the game. And for him to kind of say this, it's either just a weird backhand compliment to those guys and bring them into discussion, or it's just a disingenuous piece of bullshit.
Well, see, I actually go the other way with it because I just recently watched Stephen A. Smith. This is what LeBron
That's
is referring
your first
to.
mistake
Well,
there.
no. Well, this is what he means by ring culture. Is because I just watched Stephen A. Smith, who is a part of the media, which is creating narratives. That's what their job is to do, is to create narratives, to push out content, to get people's attention. That's what this is. This is the entertainment business. Do things to keep attention. He just made a comment that said Giannis Antetokounmpo would be considered an underachiever if he does not win another ring. Now let's make a sense of that. Giannis took a small market team and was the de facto best player on that team to an NBA championship while having one of the best NBA runs of all time. And now we're telling him that's not enough. You got to get me more.
And if I was,
But that's coming from the national media creating narratives,
Okay,
which
so
then
we
puts
don't-
the pressure on the players.
First of all, as a basketball player, we don't play basketball for the media. We play
No,
basketball.
that's actually
we
how
play-
y'all get paid, though.
We don't get paid. for
Television viewership and
media.
fan
Listen, man,
support is
basketball
how the
players-
CBAs work.
Basketball players play to win.
Yes, but there's more than just
and to
basketball
make-
players
and
that
to
go
make- and to
into
make the
winning
people that they play
championships.
for their fans happy. I don't. And listen, I've never walked into a game saying, "Man, I wonder what Stephen A. gonna think about me." I don't think none
Okay,
of those guys.
so let me ask you this. We've had a lot of conversations outside,
Absolutely.
and there's a coach that we both know how you really feel about him. How did he?
You don't have to. You don't. I don't. You don't get along. Get along with every.
No,
coach you play for.
but those coaches also play. They're not a player. They don't come onto the court.
Some of
they
them
don't
have been.
But what I'm saying is that even when you could have the talent to win championships, your coach can throw you off. Is that not true? Is that not a true statement? So what does that got to do with that individual greatness? You played with Carmelo at a team on a team that had a chance to win a title.
Absolutely.
Was Carmelo not good enough, or was he not put in the positions to get where he needed to go?
Phenomenal, but you got to understand. First of all, it takes a lot to win a championship.
Of course, that's all I'm saying.
Management has to do their thing. Coaching staff leadership has to do their thing. Players have to do their thing.
Yes.
All the way down to the equipment manager, man.
Yep. Everybody has to do their job.
I don't think that, and just because someone says something, don't necessarily make it true, right? Stephen A. Smith is a great guy at what he does, but his word ain't the end all be all. Just because he say, "Oh yeah, well Giannis, if he don't win another championship, that don't make it right."
Well, here's the unfortunate thing about the reality we live in. We live in this time and age, and remember, we're old, so we grew up in an age where following people for what? Like, remember, like we grew up in the age where it's like, why do you want me to follow you? Like, hell no, I ain't following you for what? But now that's what everything is about. It's about let me emulate or think like you think. It's a collective site. It is a lot of people.
A lot of people,
millions.
But that's fine.
Millions.
Most people on the planet are idiots.
Pink, we are in agreement with that.
But then why do we react so much to what they say and believe in?
Because they clog up I-4. They clog up I-4. They cause accidents. They impede on our actual life.
Oh, I know.
Because of their stupidity.
I agree, 100%.
That's the reason why I
Can I
care.
ask you a question?
You know what I'm saying?
But I don't care what their opinions are.
Can I ask all you guys a question?
Yeah.
If you played in the NBA and you was playing for the Milwaukee Bucks, a team who hadn't won a championship since 1972, 72, whatever it was, and you won a championship there, how would you feel?
Elated.
All right. If you never won another championship, how would you feel? Because the reason why I'm saying this is the only thing that matters is what Giannis thinks about his career.
Yeah.
Now, he may be in a situation where he may say, hey, man, look, I want to win 3 championships. And if I don't get the 3, then I feel like I've underachieved.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
That's itself.
So Stephen A. Smith is saying one thing, and again, I'm not coming down on him because he's great at what he does. His job is to, like he says, not be friends with these guys, but also have a voice and have his own opinion.
Yeah.
So why are we getting so in our feelings about what someone else says? Because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is what he thinks. Whatever Giannis thinks matters.
Yeah. I guess it's you're right. You're talking about as far as how we think about for ourselves. That's the only thing ultimately matters. I guess it's when you have false narratives being created. Rather, it's forget just basketball. Forget what Stephen A. says or whatever. Just false narratives can have real life implications that are negative.
Lift your
You
mic
understand
up
what I'm
a
saying?
little bit. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
it's
so
close to your phone,
I guess that's more so of what I'm referring to. Is that is where false opinions, people's opinions, can be a very dangerous game, like life and death level type of.
Well,
type
I mean,
of
if you're
situation.
talking about kind of like the gaslighting and the flaming of ignorance, that is a societal issue, a societal concern. But I think part of mitigating that is to be able to separate somebody's opinion from your own and be able to look at circumstances or a career or a resume and say, this is what I think that is. And when I look at Giannis, I mean, one of the all-time great NBA stories from where he came to what he accomplished. Personally, if I was his best friend, I would have told him to get the hell out of Milwaukee after the title and go to somewhere else. You had a better chance to continue winning. That would have been my advice because I'm a big believer in just going where you can win.
Okay, so
at all costs.
My question is then, because you've been on a pre-show, we were talking about that. Why is it okay for an all-time great in Giannis to do that? To be able to go where he can continue winning, but somebody like LeBron is frowned upon.
I don't think that it's frowned upon on any situation. It's you got to understand this. When you're talking about greatness, the level of the playing field must continuously be the same, right? So you're talking about LeBron James being considered as the GOAT. So most people that have been, I don't care what level of business or industry you've being in, if my hands are tied and I've been great, you can't sit there and tell me that you're just as great as I am and you get able to do everything you want to do. That's just it's not gonna come off the same to other people.
No, and I get that, but
That's
then
all
that
I'm saying.
each generation has that argument because you have people like Wilt Chamberlain who has told people like Michael Jordan, like, hey,
And guess
you
what he
know,
said?
they changed the rules to help
And
you.
guess
They
what he
changed
said?
the rule to stop
And
me.
guess
You know what I'm
and
saying?
guess
Like,
what- and guess what he said?
Yeah.
It's all opinionated.
yeah, of course.
I
Of
think
course.
LeBron James' greatness is unbelievable. Michael Jordan's greatness is believable. Hey man, you got 1A, 1B, or 1B, 1A, well, however you want to
Yeah,
do
however you
it.
put it.
doesn't matter.
What do you value?
It,
But-
it doesn't matter.
But as far as him moving around, like, you know, people are going to have their own reaction to that. Like, people in Cleveland were
why?
highly upset because he left them.
But why, Pete?
Because that's their reaction. They feel the connection to him and Cleveland
But that's
and the
stupid.
team.
Okay, let
And
me-
you know that's stupid.
Let me ask you
Yeah,
this
no,
question.
well, see, I view sports complete. I follow players and coaches.
Right.
So, like, last year, PSG was my team. Mbappe moves, I'm a Real Madrid guy.
Right.
I follow the guys that I'm interested in.
Of course.
And I'm not tied by what other people are. But there are people in fandom that they're a Cleveland Cavs guy, they're a Heat guy, whatever. But the reality is, you forget, like, he moves from Cleveland. There's people upset that he did that.
Right.
He moves to Miami. There's people that are thrilled that they're now contending and winning titles.
How is that his issue in any way?
It's
shape,
not
or form?
his issue.
Right? Okay.
But why? I
But
mean, like,
but
why
we try to make that his issue though
let
through
me-
the media, through
Some
various different
people
pundits.
do,
Well,
but
some people
again,
do.
Yeah.
why are
But
we worried
listen,
about
people
it?
always are going to say this. Let me ask y'all a question,
Yeah.
and y'all tell me if this is fair or not. I played in the NBA in the 50s and the 60s. We didn't have a three-point line, right? I scored 25,000 points.
Mhm.
All of a sudden, in 70-something or whatever, they come out with a three-point line, and now you got guys shooting threes the whole time, and they're scoring 30,000 points, and it's overflowing and diminishing what I've accomplished as a player because we didn't have a three-point line in my time. How do you think those guys feel?
Of course. No. That's why we say it's all subjective. But I
Right.
guess when we're talking about, once again, back to these GOAT conversations, because in that, even in saying that, Michael Jordan, we go and look back and say, you know, from 95 through 98, when they were winning championship, they moved the three-point line up to its shortest line in 30 years prior? Like, do we say that, and then they moved it back in the 98 season?
I don't think you say
99?
anything.
Like, how do we do that?
I think
Because that's adjusting the rules to make it
I
easier.
think- I think a lot
Three-point
of
percentages
times-
went up. Jordan had his career years during a shortened three-point line that was actually
That's
as
not
short
true.
as the
That's
women.
not- that's
That's
not
facts.
true,
That's
bro.
that's not my
Listen,
opinion.
man,
That's
that
fact.
man had 38. He was averaging 38 points a game.
Look,
When they
look.
had hand checking in.
Look. What I'm saying is,
So you
there
can't
was
say-
a
you can't
rule
say-
that
you
made
can't
that
say-
helped
you can't say-
benefit Mike.
Okay.
It's just
you can't
proved.
say, you can't say his best years were there because his best years were the years where they
No, I'm just talking about 3%. I'm just talking about 3%. I'm just talking about 3%.
Play. What we need to do is we need to start evaluating and understanding and appreciating greatness as what it is.
Amen.
There
Okay.
you go.
Because
That's
because-
fair.
Said that
because-
forever.
because
And that's
what ends
fair.
up happening is
Yeah.
greatness is different in every era, right? Because rules may change. Hey man, the NBA has changed the rules. When I came into the NBA, it was a rougher game, right? They changed the rules because we want to make the game global. You know, we want European guys to come over here and play. We want to take it global. You know, the European guys aren't the most physical guys, right? We can't have 80-point games. So now what you see now is what you get from rules being changed.
I'm just curious though.
So
Are we
why
moving
is
the
it-
goalpost?
so- huh?
Isn't that moving the goalpost though? The reason why I'm
No,
asking
that's
that.
called business.
Well, no, because I understand the business
That's called
aspect of it.
business.
No, but in the same breath, I'm just talking about for this intents and purposes. For sports talk radio and things of that nature, when we try to say, hey, the 90s basketball was a lot more physical. So what you're essentially saying is that do we consider that basketball when you can clothesline a Kurt Rambis getting clotheslined in the middle? Is that basketball?
At that point in time, that's what basketball was.
But I'm asking,
but no,
is it though?
but-
Is
but-
that,
but you
was
can't-
that the way James Naismith intended it to be?
no
Yes or
different
no?
from the Big Three.
So he invented the game.
No,
We
but
don't
see
know
that
how
that's
he
a,
invented
that's
it.
that's an imbecilic point.
Well, no, because it's almost
It is.
it's almost say that what does me clotheslining you or hitting you in the head with an elbow have to do with the actual skill of basketball? That's actually my fighting skills. That has nothing to do with my basketball.
That wasn't
skills.
the entirety of the league.
But
though.
see, that's
I mean, that
the way
stuff
that they
happened.
try to
That's the way they
paint
picture.
it.
That is the way they picture
Oh, come on,
everybody.
Stop.
The 80s and 90s was tougher and
It's
it
more
was
physicality.
more
And I played in
physical.
the
Were they
90s.
lying? Were they
I was
lying?
in college.
No, they're
in the
not
90s
lying.
playing. So I'm
No,
like,
but
come on, man.
what
What we
Will
talking
Will
about?
is saying is what does that have to do with the game of
Game
basketball?
itself.
The game itself is that's how the game is played. You have to play the way the game is played.
But don't
Yes.
y'all
That's no
act
different-
as
that's
if
no differently than being back in the NFL back in the day when Deacon Jones was coming in and clubbing people. Does that have to do with
if
it?
you're
Does
saying
have
that
to
you
do
can
with football?
intimidate,
you from
But
the
guess
East,
what?
boy.
yeah, right.
But guess what? At that time, that's how football was played.
But you're saying it
So
for
if
an
you wasn't
intimidation
playing-
factor.
so if you
Then
wasn't
that's
playing-
what we're talking about because
We're
it's-
not.
y'all acting as if these guys got hit in the head and then fouls didn't get called. We act as if Michael Jordan didn't lead the league in free throws.
I'm not
Like what we
listen,
talking about?
You're arguing against somebody other than me.
No,
I'm
I'm not
not-
arguing.
We're not
We're
arguing at all.
arguing
Yeah, we're not
I'm
arguing
not
with
arguing at all.
nobody here.
But I'm saying, like,
so let me ask y'all
these
a question.
points are idiotic.
Let me ask y'all a question. You drive to the basket, right? You drive to the basket.
You're talking to
gotta-
old school.
right?
I played.
And you get clobbered and you get knocked to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You get up, we start fighting.
Mm-hmm.
I get to the basket. Are you gonna just let me go to the basket and just lay it up and I don't get touched and on it after you just got clobbered?
But see, that's not how the game is today either, though.
No, but what I'm saying,
saying
at
that.
that
That is what he's
time,
saying.
that's how
No,
the game is.
Bubba, they're rewriting history at their
How we
own
rewriting
will.
There's no rewriting at all.
Watch the game.
You watch the
I
game.
look.
Okay, let me say something. The Detroit Pistons won 2 championships. The
I'm
Bad
from Michigan,
Boys.
born and raised.
Okay, so
Yeah, you know I know.
you're familiar with them.
You know
so
I
how
know.
was the game played then?
No, we play a different brand of basketball. Your
Oh,
region
y'all
of the
play.
country,
Oh, y'all
the
play,
region
huh?
of the country
Oh,
plays
y'all
a different.
play, huh?
Up north, we play a different brand of basketball than we do down
Is
south.
it basketball?
No, it's still basketball.
Okay,
yes,
so-
it's still
so-
basketball.
but
it's
that's-
just a
that's
different
my point.
brand.
That's
No,
my
no,
point.
But we're not.
That's my point.
No, it's a different brand. But we're not saying stuff like you're not elbowing people in the head. We're still playing basketball.
What do you
It's
mean?
a different
Them
style.
people was taking people out there, bro.
Does Princeton? What kind of offense that Princeton runs? Do they run the same as Kentucky? No, they play a different brand of basketball, but
No,
it's
but-
still basketball. What y'all talking about is clothesline and
Who's
elbow.
talking about that?
When
Like,
I
what
say
are
in
we
general,
talking-
it's
Yeah, but
not
who-
you in
yeah,
general.
but who the
We're
fuck-
talking to the people that's actually watching and things
But
of that nature. We're
if
talking
you're
about to the
that-
basketball.
if you're that stupid, go to bed and don't watch.
We didn't believe what we see. Then.
I know, right? I don't
believe
understand
what we
this.
see.
I don't understand.
Bill and Bill wasn't he wasn't knocking the shit out of nobody.
What? So you saying he clobbered people?
No,
And-
he didn't do that.
No, I'm asking because
No, he didn't.
you're saying that because Bill and Barry, not only is he good peoples, but
No, he's a great dude.
good peoples and all that type. His daughter was
he
really
knocking
good
the
too.
shit out-
She
was
went
he
over
knocking the shit
to
out of
Country
people?
Day.
Was he knocking the shit
No,
out of
he
people?
was fouling people very, very
Okay,
hard.
was that
Very, very hard.
Was that the game at that time?
What I'm saying is, yes, it was,
Okay, so why
but
is
that's
that-
not
that's the only-
basketball.
That's the
Why
only
is
point
that
we're
basketball?
making.
But that's not.
Basketball. Here's the deal.
Okay.
Basketball or anything at the highest level, however it's being played at any era of time.
Okay.
That's the highest level. If you want to succeed, you have to
All right,
succeed
you have to
in
get,
that environment.
You have to succeed
whatever
in that
that
environment.
is.
That's true. You have to get.
That's
You
at
have
the
to
end of the
do
day,
what
that's
you
all
have
that
to do to
matters.
get there. But what we're trying to say now is that y'all act as if that physicality was going uncalled. If you go and look at the facts, see, not my opinion, not Pink's opinion, not Chuck's opinion. Look at the facts. The facts is the foul changes has not changed in 20 years.
will.
We had this argument already.
It will.
It has not changed, but
You
a
could-
foul a game
You could fight
in
you could fight-
25
you could fight-
years.
You could fight back
So-
then and nobody got
So what are
suspended.
we saying now?
I don't know what we're
and let
saying.
me-
You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we
That's an
saying?
irrelevant stat.
Let me spin
No,
it.
but what I'm telling you is that the contact. We try to act as if there was less fouls called in the 90s than it is today. That's not true. That's not factually accurate.
Real, you said
That's
that.
just
we
not
we
factually
never
accurate.
Said that. We
Yeah,
never
we're not
said
saying
that.
But
You said that.
what you're making the
No,
suggestion.
no,
is-
we're not making
No,
a
we're not.
suggestion.
You're
You're
making
making
a
a suggestion.
You're making a suggestion that we
we
played
said
this
that-
brand of basketball.
not
What we
what
said
we're
is
saying.
basketball is what it is. We abide by the rules and what you can get away with at that time.
Now that's on the court, right?
There you go.
Let me spin it this
Yeah.
way though, right? Because when you go back, the original topic is ring culture and LeBron talking about counting rings and then how you rank somebody historically. The way the game is now, right? It's impossible for someone to pull off 6, 7, 8 championships. Like the way they structure the rules, the way they structure the salary cap.
Really?
Yes. Oh yeah. We already talked about it.
We had the same 4 teams play in the same 2 teams play in the finals 4 years
I'm
ago.
talking about like this particular era since
now,
the new
6
rules.
years ago is irrelevant now.
Yes, yeah, because
All right.
because they didn't have those. The
right.
KD going to the Warriors would never happen again due to the salary cap structure. That was like a,
All right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, they put in the second apron since then.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
what we talking about?
second apron.
I
So
can't
like,
speak to that.
huh?
I can't.
Because
speak
that's
to
the
that.
business side of things.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
it's
I don't
but
know.
it's
That
but it's
prevents-
it's real.
if-
It's like it's
if
here.
teams are good enough, they're gonna win.
To the degree of, I guess, to go back to the cancel culture, LeBron went to 8 straight finals. Under a lot of people's eyes, not anybody at this table, but under a lot of people's eyes, he should have won more of those championships. But what people don't seem to look at is that
You know what I would
the
like to
process to get there.
I would like to
we
ask,
talking about?
You know, a good question would be. The good question would be, let's ask LeBron James. Has anybody asked him that question? Hey
About
man, out of all the years that you went to the finals, how do you feel with your accomplishment? Do you think you should have won more, or do you think you're right where you're supposed to be? Because we can think whatever we want to think.
Yeah.
And that's a fair
What
question
we're
to
going
ask.
by, what we're
No,
going by,
that's
what
a
we're
fair
going by-
question to ask.
What we're going by is the reason why people may feel that way is because we watched him and D Wade and Bosh get on the sun and say not 5, not 6, not 7,
y'all, come on,
not
y'all.
8. So that's why we felt
But
that
you,
way.
but you can't. Here's the
No,
thing.
if
let
you
me ask
support
you a
that
question.
beat,
No, no.
you join
No,
us.
what I'm saying is,
If you support that beat,
No, what I'm saying-
the intelligent
wait,
level.
let me ask you
If
a
you
question,
support
Let
that
me
beat,
address this. Let me
you
address
getting on the
this.
bus
Let me
with the
ask
idiots,
you-
Let
with
me
the gun
address
caps.
this. Let me address this.
Okay, come on, talk to
The
me.
point that I'm making on that is that was a situation where they chose to create a narrative out of their
Oh
own mouth.
God! See that? Not,
And
so
I'll
you
say
can't
this.
even be
And-
hyperbolic
and-
anymore.
And I'll say this.
So
and
you
I'll say
can't-
this.
You can be
Based
whatever the
off of-
fuck you want.
So
For
now
real.
you get held
You can
accountable
be-
for that, though.
You can be whatever the hell
Don't
you
you?
want, but you're going to be judged
So-
no matter what you do.
Don't you?
So, but what? Why does it matter if you judge?
What do you mean?
Like, because I guess I live under a whole different thing. I don't care what
Come on,
anybody
Chuck.
thinks. Of me. You understand what I'm saying? But
I don't care either.
Yeah,
But
you're saying
you're
LeBron
talking
is he's
about
going to
how-
be judged. Who is these people that's judging him, and what matter do they have?
Oh God, you're the one that started this whole the media drives these narrative things, and I'm saying that just simply that is an example where they created their own narrative. Now it did give them some headaches because they didn't achieve it. It's not the end of the world.
But
It
listen,
is
what
it
we're
is.
talking about, though, you're literally watching a guy cracking the jokes, and now we're sitting there saying, like we act as if they were really not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. They were literally having fun in the situation, and now we're trying to hold them accountable. Well, you didn't do what you said you did. You said you was going to do. Like, come on, man, what are we doing now at this point? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's
I
crazy.
mean, just like I don't really understand that.
About the whole topic, though, I do understand both sides of it. I do. I understand both sides of it. I hate when people just automatically go to how many rings somebody has when they're talking about who's better out of this player and that player. But at the same time, I can see some points of there have been some points in LeBron's career where he's kind of brought it upon himself, and then also as far as the other players are concerned as well. So I kind of get both sides.
There's no right or no wrong.
Yeah. At the end of the day, for real. Now, you're still on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. We're available on all that I do mean, all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. We have Ace League director in the building, Will Lee, okay? An ex-NBA player here, Chucky Atkins, homegrown. Before we get to the Ace League, I just want to give a very quick shout-out to our number one sponsor here, Royal13thebrand.com. Again, that is Royal13thebrand.com. Use promo code Bubba Pink and be fresh here in the summer. Okay? All right. Now, the Ace League is upon us here, man. It's upon us. All right. It's back in full effect. Now, the date is Monday.
June 23rd, 6 p.m.
Monday, June 23rd, 6 p.m.
Doors
All
open
right.
at 5:30.
Now, I typically do this for you. Now, before we get into the nooks and crannies, okay, I want to give you like a minute 30.
Uh-huh.
Tell the people why they should come out and watch the Ace League. You know what Ace League is about, and why they'll be entertained by the Ace League.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Absolutely. Well, given that Aces aspirations can empower, so what we do here is things throughout the community. Me and my guy Chuck, we do things that don't go into the gram. You know, we do things with our kids, our students, community, just working with building up our entire family. You know what I mean? And that's something that we're focused on. And this basketball element is something, a way to bring and galvanize everybody, because we want that level of entertainment. We want people to come in. We want kids to be able to have exposure to some of their favorite athletes, because we know how important that is. That opens up a dream. Right, it start giving them aspirations to become more than their current situation. So I think that's why everyone should come out and support. I'm homegrown. Now, this is grassroots. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where I've been here for 14 years. I'm here. You know what I'm saying? This is where I've been raising my family. This is where I'm going to be. And so, like I said, this is my community as well. And so I just really like pouring into my community, and I want the fans and people to come out and support one that's going to support you. You know.
Facts. Yeah. Chuck, what led you to getting involved? What did that look like, and why did you?
For me, man, being here from Orlando, I just know how big Summer League basketball was for me in my career, right? One, it's entertainment. You know, a lot of people can't, you know, go spend $100, $200 for a ticket to go watch those guys play at the arena, right? So the Ace League is something that we can provide to where young kids can come and they can see their best players, like Will said, and be involved, touch them, see it up close and personal, how big those guys are, how fast they are, the skill set, right? And what I encourage is that we make it someplace where guys and people just come and hang out and make it a really good atmosphere, right? For me, playing in the NBA, there's nothing like coming back home and seeing your people. Right, so every year I made it my business. When my season was over, I was coming back home to play in the summer league. Right, I was walking off the court without my shoes on, giving them away to young kids that was asking me for my shoes. That's kind of what we want to give back right here with the Ace League. We want to create a great atmosphere. We want people to show up on the weekends and give them something to do without being in trouble. A safe environment for the kids to come out. It's going to be entertainment. We want the guys to come out and put on a show and play good basketball, you know, and you never know who you can encourage. You never know who you may inspire. You know, me and my brother Will, we come to the conclusion of, hey, man, this is what we're doing. We're giving back to our community, and it's going to be fun this summer.
Will, that's what's up. That's really dope, man. Will, give us some of the names that has been in the Ace League that the people may recognize.
All
and
right.
if they don't, tell them where they've been at.
All right. So, I mean, I guess I'll start off with a lot of people. I was surprised that a lot of people didn't realize Walter Clayton Jr. You know, you just seen him win, Florida.
National title.
Yeah, national title and everything else. And a lot of people didn't realize he had played not only just one game, he played a few games in Ace. And I couldn't believe even my photographers. They were surprised. They were just like, wait, I don't remember.
That's fire.
Yes, I remember Taylor Hendricks, the number 9 pick in the NBA draft. He came in. Okay. And when I say that boy looked it different, he came in and taking my European pros as a 17-year-old. He was different. And within 5 minutes of seeing him play, I said he's going to the league. 9 months later, 9th pick of the draft. It's just really that simple. We've had Dwayne Bacon. We've had R.J. Hampton. We had Anthony Simons, the NBA Slam Dunk champion. We got Mo Spates. You know what I mean? You know, we just on the air with him just a minute ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? It's a little bit of everything because it's a family fun event. It's 0 through 17. You're free. Like, there's no reason for you not to bring your kids out, right, to the game. And even this year, the way that I set it up, you can get for $25 a season ticket. Bubba, you already got one. You know what I'm saying? Bubba was one of the first ones to get one. You can get a season ticket for $25, and then you get a $20 right back. I'm giving you $20 right back in a gift card.
You're really paying $5.
You're paying $5 for the entire season. Did that code work for you, my man?
It worked. I got it.
Okay,
I'm gonna wear my product to the first game.
Yeah. So
from
no
Hoop,
question.
from Hoop Culture.
Yes, from Hoop Culture. So, you know, that's one of our official sponsor this year.
And shout out to Hoop Culture, man. Those guys, they've been behind us from day one. They're giving us some great gear. They're outfitting us and the guys with some great gear. let's come out and support those guys as well. They're a homegrown company that's doing a lot of great things here in our community for the youth and also for high school basketball and things like that. So shout out to Hoop Culture and Mike Brown, man. We appreciate y'all guys.
Yep,
man,
all
keep
day.
that love,
I'm
man.
gonna tell you because that's what I didn't
Appreciate
know.
y'all.
I didn't know about Hoop Culture.
Yeah.
So I knew about H League. So getting H League, getting the season ticket, and then going to Hoop Culture. I go on there. I use the discount. Work right away. I got my shirt. I had ordered a shirt. I got the shirt in like 2 days, and it's really
And
nice
they quick.
quality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I got my Hoop Culture shorts on right now.
Yeah,
You
so
know what I mean?
definitely
Those
check them
guys,
out.
man. Those guys,
Shout
man,
out to them. They
doing
making
good
some
stuff
fire
for us.
gear, man.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we can use another sponsor on the podcast. I'm gonna reach out to Hoop Culture. You know what I mean? Yeah. So all right. So we got this season coming up Monday. What are some of the teams that's coming in? What are some of the storylines? What are the people talking about?
All right. So
I know Pink here along with Juan. He's they're coming back with their team, Pedro's Posse.
I like Pink and Juan is the original OGs. They've been with me since the beginning. They family. You know what I mean? They've been in there. They're my 3-time defending champions from years ago. They had a good run going. That it's been since 21. I think y'all won your last one. Yeah, I think y'all won your last one in 21, but they back now with a fully loaded roster. This is going to be a fun season because we have a little bit of everybody. And then a couple more surprises because, the new league year doesn't even start until July 1st. Thanks. So then once that comes in there, the NBA guys, even the current NBA guys, they just sit back and watch and see what kind of bump you're doing. Right. If they like it, it's organized, it's looking right, they come out and play. And that's how I got guys like Dwayne Bacon. That's how I got guys like Willie and Anthony and all that. Once they see Nazir Little was playing, and once they see what you're doing, then that's when they sit there and join. So we have a little bit of everybody this year coming.
Is that why we have a bye week after the first week?
You said no. Actually, the school. Okay. Yeah, the school is closed that week for the 4th, and so I try to get out ahead of all that stuff. So show me with anything, because we, we on point. We on point. So what I mean. I had a year off. I've been able to refresh, been able to sit there, build a strong team. I got my brother Chuck with me. Yeah. I got the rest of the dream team that's gonna be out there. We ready to go. This is gonna be fun.
We're gonna have a lot of fun this summer.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this is gonna be fun.
These guys come out here. We want to see a little bit of everything, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a hangout thing, man.
Yeah. Got food vendors.
We got food vendors. We doing it, man.
You back on the mic?
Oh, I'm on the mic.
My boy on the mic.
I'm on the mic. Yeah, man. Yeah, we're gonna be talking that talk.
Yes.
Shout out to my man Perkins here, man. He said that his wife make custom socks. If y'all need some Ace League socks,
you
know what I mean?
Your local business, my man.
All hands on deck, man. All hands on deck. In order for us to have a great product, man, we need everybody. All hands on deck, man. We need the people to come out and see it. We need the guys to come out there and perform. You know what I'm saying? All the vendors come out there and do what they do. Yeah. Because we're trying to really make this thing a whole community thing, man.
Oh, absolutely. Fat Bone Barbecue out there. They gonna be on the grill.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. We got B-Girls catering out there. Oh, no.
I'm coming
home. I brought y'all some food.
Okay.
Look. No, I got food coming. I got Swable treats. They gonna be back there.
Oh,
so
okay,
if you
my
want
boy
the flip,
Sway.
Yeah, you want that type of deal? Like, well, we're gonna be out there doing it. You know what I'm saying? So you can make a whole evening out of it.
Exactly.
This gonna be a whole family evening.
I love
thing.
that the 0 through 17 is free.
It's always gonna be free.
It'll
always be
free. I love
free.
that. I love
It'll
that.
always be free.
We're back on Monday nights.
Back on Monday
There's
nights.
one Tuesday night game. But yeah, I to me during the summertime, it's plenty of daylight. Like, get out and come to the game. Like, the weekend was a little funky in the past. Maybe, going to the beach or doing whatever you're going to do. Yeah. But these weekday evening spots, it's like, there ain't nothing better to do in town than come out to the gym.
It's much easier for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Did that play a part into coming back to Monday?
Yes, it did. Sundays is so rough because a lot of these guys, they play overseas and then they come back in town and they're being asked to play in a lot of these money tournaments over the weekends in various different states and TBT, the one on ESPN. Yeah. So I every year I was running into that issue where the weekends was really, really tough and a lot of teams were getting depleted because of that. You're playing for $1 million, even though we've had Ace League champions, win that million, like my shout out E Griff. I see you, baby. I see you.
Sir.
Get that money.
Man, not only the players, though, I think the fans would be easier to come out on the weekday.
Oh,
too.
absolutely. I agree.
I think it's really going to be helpful.
Now, Pink, from you having being a part of and being a coach of Pedro's Posse, what are y'all looking like coming into this Ace League summer season here?
My view on this is that, you know, you look at the rosters and you see all these names. At the end of the day, it's who shows up and when they show up. And that's the most important thing. I mean, we've been between the Pro-Am and the Ace, we've you know, been in chances. We've won some, we've lost some because like people couldn't play in the final.
Right.
You know, and like, you know, one time back in the Pro-Am, like Jason Williams like had some falling out with somebody in the league and didn't show up for the final. We lost the game.
Right.
You know, it just any random thing could happen. And, you know, you just got to put yourself in position to be in the playoff, have your best group of guys at that time and roll the dice, man.
Yeah.
Roll the dice.
Yeah.
You know,
go
I'll
ahead.
just say, yeah, when I like look back at a lot of the Ace League games and stuff like that, even when we had a great run of success with 3 titles in a row, if you go back to each individual game, like there were plenty of games, the margin was nothing.
Yeah,
Guy missed a shot at the buzzer.
Yes.
Guy, you know, got a tip
20
in.
Very
year,
close games.
y'all won 3 games in a row at the buzzer.
Yeah.
In a row
Very
at
close
the
games.
buzzer.
Yeah.
And-
with KP and them, I
Yeah.
remember. Yes.
And in one of the finals, like we had Romani had a tip in
Oh,
to give us the
yes,
lead.
that's right.
And then they had like 3 tips.
They had 3
on
chances.
the other end,
Alante
and
had
nothing got in.
Alante had
you
it.
know?
Scotty James had it. Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
just you know that's you know good high level basketball with talented people. The margins are so small, anything could happen.
Yeah. Now, Chuck, as an NBA player, you said you used to come back in the summers and play in the summer pro-ams.
Every summer.
How serious did you play in those? As an NBA player, I always wonder, like for the NBA guys, overseas guys, how hard do they really play in these summer league games?
I played. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing about me, I always play to win, man. I never just jump into something and do something just to do it because
Half-ass or
that's
whatever.
when you get injured, right? So,
Amen to that.
You know, when I'm out there playing, you know, as an NBA player, it's even rougher on than most guys because most guys gonna measure you up. They
That's
sizing
what I'm
you
saying.
up. So my job was to go out there and show those guys that, hey man, there's a difference between me and you.
There's levels.
Right?
There's
levels
levels
to it, right?
Mhm.
So I never took. As a matter of fact, I used to show up to games late on purpose, just to show that hey, I'm finna come. I'm show up late, and I'm gonna kick your ass when I get there, and we gonna come back and we gonna win. I used to do that on purpose.
I don't even need to stretch.
Right, but that was just me because I wanted to challenge myself, but I always wanted to give the people that I showed up to play for a performance. I ain't just showing up just to play basketball, just to run up and down the court and do nothing, right? Like, what's the fun in that, right?
Yep.
So I expect the same thing out of these guys. Like, basketball is a lovely game. I think all of us are examples of, hey, man, it don't last for long, right? I wish I could still play today the way I played back then. But, you know, Father Time is undefeated.
Got another
So you
W.
better come out here and you better put your best foot forward and have fun with it now while you can. So that's what I encourage the guys to do. I'll be there having fun. Me and my brother Bill will be there. Hey, look, sometimes I might be on the mic just talking shit.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
So-
gonna be the surprise. He gonna
so-
talk his talk.
Yeah, so we just gonna have a good time, man. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's the place to be. It's gonna be the place to be this summer. I think it's gonna be an epic summer.
Well, one thing you don't want to half-ass when Will on the
No,
mic.
we ain't gonna do
That's
that.
one thing you don't want to do.
No, we ain't gonna do that. I'm competitive, so if I hear him on the mic going
You know what I'm
crazy,
saying?
you know I'm gonna get on the mic going smash.
That's it.
Will you gonna bring a second mic here?
No. Iron sharpens iron. So, and you know what I mean? At the end of the day, this is a team thing, too, though.
Yeah.
And
No, I'm saying you're gonna bring a second one out. So you both be going.
Yes. And that's going to be fun.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, for sure,
seriously,
for sure.
Seriously,
I'm-
that's going to be fun. We
I'm
got
for
we got so many things planned for y'all this year. Like when I said that year off, I feel refreshed. I really feel refreshed, and it's time.
Sometimes you
It's
need
time.
that.
Yeah, man.
Sometimes you need that.
yes.
Shout out to Coach Baruti. He's saying, "Oh man, is that really Chucky Atkins on there?
Yeah.
What up, Chucky?
Barute,
It is."
what's up, baby? That's my guy. man.
Yeah,
That's my
shout out
guy.
to Coach Baruti, man. He's a friend of the show, man. He's
Yes,
been on
sir.
here before too, man. So yeah, definitely shout out to that.
That's my brother.
You know, I always wanted to ask you this too, man, about the Ace League, because we deservingly so. We talk about the pros that come in, whether it's NBA or overseas. I even remember you having some like NBA G League guys come in too.
Yeah.
What about the guys? You got the guys who played in college, the good guys who we kind of reference them a little bit just in general, but like the guys who they're going to size up these NBA guys, the real good guys. Some of the guys coming to the top of my head like Rod Lawrence, Bulb, all of these guys. You know what I mean? These guys who can really hoop now, and it's going to be a part of this thing.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Talk about them and their part in this Ace League.
See, that's a perfect example. You brought up two guys who both have been multi-time defensive player of years in my league or MVPs in my league. And now remember, these are guys from here, from the city, who are going to push. They don't care nothing about names.
Right.
They don't care nothing about your name. If anything, if they hear your name and too many people, what they call meat riding, you know what I'm saying? Too many people meat riding, that gives them an additional fuel. You know what I'm saying? And then at the end of the day, they make my pros, that the ones who may just be going through the motion, they make them have to work. And to the point where if they don't work, remember, I'm on the mic, it doesn't matter who you are.
Right.
Like, it really doesn't. And when I'm on the mic, I call my observations out loud. And most people are not used to hearing somebody say what they observe. You see what I mean? And that's what's happening. I see what I see. I know you're a high-level pro in China, averaging 30 per, and you're making $1 million a year. But this guy who's working over at UPS, you know what I'm saying, he had to sit here. He still was in his work clothes when he showed up. He came out here and gave you 25, and you had 10. I just got to report what actually happened.
Facts.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? So don't get mad at me for reporting what actually happened.
Hey, listen.
You know
and if you don't like what you're hearing,
do something
better.
about it.
Listen, I've literally been on both ends of the sticks, and I think that's why I approached the summertime like I did.
Yeah.
Right? So it was a time that I wasn't in the NBA, and I wanted to get my opportunity. And I would see Darryl Armstrong walk in the gym, and I would see Bo Outlaw walk in the gym, and I would see all these pros walk in the gym that I watched on TV, and I wanted to be a part of that. So what's the best way to measure myself? Go at him hard. I'm trying to kill him. Right? Now, you don't think my confidence is out the roof if I have a good game against a Darryl Armstrong or Lateral Green or Moreland Wiley or Sam Vincent if I don't watch these guys play? Because I'm trying to figure out, do I belong or not?
Yeah.
All right? So when I have a good game against them, guess what that does for me? If I can have a good game against them, the rest of y'all dead.
Come on now.
So we inviting. If you can hoop right now, what the Ace League is about, we want the best hoopers in Central Florida. We ain't talking about just Orlando, Jacksonville, Tampa, Gainesville, Central Florada. Come show what you got. Come show what you got.
Yep.
Look, if you can get our head shake like, yeah, he the real deal, then we'll
you get certified.
You.
Yeah.
Certified.
Yeah, you certified.
No differently than they do up in New York, right?
Yeah,
Come
big
on.
facts.
Let's
Big
go.
facts. We had a Jacksonville guy surprise me. Is it Travis? Is it Travis?
McConnell.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Yeah.
already knew where I was
Remember,
going.
I went up to Jacksonville to recruit that young man.
Okay.
Oh,
He surprised me, man.
Yeah.
Travis a friend of the show too. He be watching. Shout out to Travis, man. But yeah, he surprised me now because I had never heard of him or seen him before.
Of course.
But he hoops.
No.
Bring your game.
He got a different dog in him.
And I think that by us doing this, it'll also encourage the younger hoopers. Because, like, high school guys, they watching, too. They next up.
Yeah.
Right? Hey,
Yeah.
man, you got some of them sitting over there rubbing their hands together like, you know what I'm saying? So
True.
what we want to do is we want to create a breeding ground for the next generation, and we want to try to help everybody reach their goals, man. We got kids still around here that people don't even know about. We got Isaiah Brown at the University of Florida, just won a national championship. We got Elijah Elliott at Ohio University.
Okay.
That's a hell of a basketball player. We got Tyler Johnson at Virginia Tech University. That's a hell of a basketball player. Sean Stewart just left Ohio State, just transferred to Oregon. We got Jizzle James at Cincinnati. So these guys are the next up and coming things that we could be sitting at home watching on TNT.
Yeah.
That's the next best thing, and
Big
they're right
facts.
here up under our. We should know those guys.
Yeah. And Sean is a supporter of Ace. Sean Stewart, he was the #1 power forward coming out when he went over to Duke. And he got a video. He sent me a video of, saying, hey, I support Ace League, and
Yes,
I want some of this bump.
Look,
you know what I mean? So
there's watching the third.
Yeah.
At Kennesaw. We got a lot. Jalen Reese going to LSU next year. So we got a lot of guys around here, bro. That's capable, bro.
Mikael Brown.
Mikael Brown.
Okay.
Okay.
Louisville. You know what I'm saying? These guys 5-star guys.
Mikael Brown is tough.
That's right here.
Yeah.
So we got to support them, and we want to encourage them to come out and get your feet wet and see where you stand with these guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. See what's going on.
No
Okay.
question.
Now, we gonna move on here quickly. But you know, one of the most exciting guys I ever seen in the Ace is Sean Willett. That's his name, right?
Yes.
Is he back this season?
Yes, he's back this season. He's with TNT.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna tell y'all something, man. 'Cause we got Chris on here. Chris saying, "Yeah, I gotta check this out." You do gotta check this out, Chris. You gotta come through. Let me tell you something, man. Sean Willett, you got. He's worth the admission price. You understand
absolutely.
me? He's worth the admission price. His missed dunks are worth the admission price.
Hey, Chuck. In the 23 season, the man tried to East Bay on somebody in the middle of a game, serious game. We ain't talking about just like that.
Right.
He's like that. And he's my youngin' too. I'm in his ear all the time. Look, I'm in his ear because he had played with my two sons that year. He had played with my two oldest sons that year, and I was in his ear. He took that team all the way to the finals. And it was. Oh yeah, we'll talk off camera, but I'll tell you some more about him.
Did y'all take him on a money tournament?
We
was
took
supposed
him to
to?
Bitcoin last
year. Y'all did?
We
Y'all
did
actually
Bitcoin
took
last
him.
year.
Yeah.
I want to see. One of the things that I always look at, I always want to see who want to smoke.
Yeah.
Oh, B. Moss.
Who wants to separate?
Okay.
He wanted.
Yeah. Who wants to separate?
That's another one worth the admission price.
And start saying, yeah, I respect that guy. I want to see who want to smoke. I'm there for the smoke.
Yeah. Who was the last champion? Who was the reigning champion?
The reigning champion is Heart and Soul right now, and that team is loaded.
Did they kind of turn over? It's a different group.
They turned over, over a couple players, but then they got a lot of their core players still. You still got Chris Warren. You still got Stephon Moody. You still got. They added Omar Payne. You know what I mean? 6'10" Omar Payne. Travis is back with them. Jason Burnell's with them. Jason hit me up. He hit me up a couple weeks ago and was like, "Hey, my guy from the Oklahoma City Thunder, Samaji Christensen, I want to say." That he wants to play and that put him on the roster. He playing with Heart and Soul.
Oh, wow.
So like when I say they got thoroughbreds, but every team in the league has thoroughbreds. So we gonna bump. Like this is what I know. We're gonna
like
bump.
Pink said, it's about who's gonna be there at the end.
Yeah,
some guys don't show up.
Oh yeah, and that's one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about since I got people. Everybody's watching. Is that this year we're doing something different. We're doing a play-in. And the way that we're doing this play-in is unique. I had enough time to sit down and think about how to map this out, and it keeps everybody engaged because one of the problems that you run into with Ace is, sometimes it's that separation. Right. You'll get that separation of teams that are really doing really well, and then the teams that are getting beat down. Those pros aren't going to want to get beat down. I had Etwan Moore come in one game against Polk County. He got his ass whipped by 40. He got his ass whipped.
Sweet.
Yeah, look. So he thought it was sweet. And so me and him talked again, said afterward, and he was like, "Will you set me up?" Now he wanted to,
right.
he just felt some type of way about it. But now what I'm doing with the play-in is like this. It's one of those situations where the top all 6 teams have an opportunity to make the playoffs. Okay. So what's going to happen is 1 and 2, they are the only teams that are guaranteed to be in the playoffs. 3 is going to face 6. The winner is going to be in the playoffs. 4 is going to against 5. The winner is going to be in the playoffs. What is the benefit for 1 and 2? The benefit is on that final week of the play-in, 1 and 2 is going to play each other for the right to pick who they're going to play in the playoffs.
But it doesn't impact their playoff seeding.
Yeah, so whoever
seeding, not their playoff participation.
Yeah.
The seeding's impacted.
Yes.
If you win that game, then you get to pick your preferred opponent.
Your preferred opponent in the semifinal. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. It keeps everybody engaged. Even if you lost every game in Ace going into it, you can sit there and say you've been waiting on your star player who was off still over across the water, but now he's back and just for the play-in time, and he's that difference maker. Because I watched this happen. I watched Darius Washington Jr. sit there and take a Metro West team all the way to the finals against a team in that Polk County that was led by Dwayne Bacon and all those that they probably shouldn't have won on paper, and still did his thing. So anything can happen at that point.
You were in the crowd that night?
Yeah.
I'm in the crowd most nights for Ace.
Appreciate the support. No question.
All right. That's what's up, man. Again, Ace League coming up Monday. It's gonna be on Mondays. There's one Tuesday game, but you just come out support. Now the location again.
Yeah, so we have 701 West Livingston Street. We back at home. We back at the Academic Center for Excellence. So by all means, it's going to be Monday nights. Doors open at 5:30. Game starts at 6, so there's going to be a 6, 7, and 8 o'clock game. We got food for you, so bring the kids out. We talking about real food. We talking about collard greens, ribs, steak, jerk chicken. What you name it, we got it pretty much. You know what I'm saying? So we got real food, real drinks, real family fun environment, you know what I mean, and great basketball.
That's what's up. Ace League. All right. What we're going to do, we're going to get to like 2 quick topics here. And then I want to get, I got Chuck here, man. The whole time I got to ask some questions about Chuck, and then we'll end the show out. Are we good with that?
Yeah.
All right. Let's move it along here. So I wanted to talk to you guys about this Noah Lyles thing here, man. Mm-hmm. So, of course, Noah Lyles was supposed to be doing a race. Now, he's, a track star, all of that good stuff. He had a race scheduled with Tyreke Hill from the Miami Dolphins now, okay? And it was supposed to be scheduled for later this summer. But Noah has canceled due to personal reasons. Now, if you know about Noah is the guy who goes on all these podcasts in between the years when he's off. He talks about all these different sports. He talks about basketball, sometimes in a negative fashion, some of the players and all these NFL and all of this. And basically what he wants to do is to uplift track. He wants track to be at the forefront of these sports conversations more and more. So I think in his mind, and this is me adding this to him, because I think he does that. I think he talks down on the other sports so you can, talk more about track. Is that fair to say?
He's trying to get money.
Yeah.
He's trying.
So you think it's a solo play?
Well, I mean, altruistically, you're talking about track in general, and it may have a spillover effect. But, I mean, when he's going on every podcast and he's talking, he's becoming the focal point of that.
Yeah.
He's becoming the lightning rod of controversy, and that equates to money and opportunity if managed properly.
Now these guys had a long-standing beef, and then they finally agreed upon a race and the distance and everything.
What was going to be the distance?
So it was going to be 60. Okay,
what was the money involved?
Huh?
What was the money involved?
You said what was? I don't know the number. Now that I don't know.
Yes,
that is important. But whatever it was, they did agree upon it.
That's the elephant in the room.
60s. I mean, Tyreke Hill just ran apparently a 10.15.
Yeah.
So
and Noah fastest time is like a 9.7. 9.7
in the high 9.7s.
Yeah, high 9.7.
But yeah, so I mean, theoretically, he shouldn't have a chance.
Yeah, because Tyreke is like, oh, he's scared. He just saw me run the 100. That's why he's backing out.
When the last time Noah Lyles ran a 10.15, he probably didn't qualify for a final.
Yeah,
that just doesn't fly. So I don't think that in 100 meters it would be a thing. Now Noah Lyles, I mean, his strongest race is the 200, and so he's able to get high speed and sustain speed. The 60 that seems to be a concession to Tyreke to keep the race interesting.
What's y'all take on him backing out? Do you think he ducking smoke, or
it's not ducking smoke? I mean, it's one of those things where it could be, but because you never could put it out the realm of possibility. But I also believe that personal reasons can be personal reasons. But given Noah Lyles' history, it's more likely that he does not want to take the risk of damaging the brand of the world's fastest man. Because you lose that race, no matter if you modify it or put it anything else, you still lost the race. Noah Lyles did run against a YouTuber named Speed, and he barely won that race. Now you're talking about a professional football player, which is universally known as one of the fastest football players ever to play, who in a 60 that basically levels the playing field, like Pink said. Noah's is the 200, meaning that he doesn't even reach his top speed until probably the 60-meter mark. So essentially what would happen there is if an NFL player beat the quote-unquote world fastest man, you lose that title, you lose your sponsorships. And in a sport where you're already not making that much money. There's no lose-lose for Tyreke Hill. If I lose to a track runner, I lost to a track runner. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So
somebody might have talked him out of this.
Somebody probably talked him out of it. Yeah, so he has an agent, he has a PR team and everything else. Somebody talked him out of this.
That's only the smart thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. I just won the Olympics. Why would I jeopardize what I got going on to go out there and race him? What if I get injured? Yeah. What if I lose? The cons way outweigh the positives.
For sure.
Yeah.
So what's in it for me? If the money ain't right, what am I doing? So I don't think that, that's just business, right?
Yeah.
Hey, if I go out there and I lose to Tyreke Hill, I'm in a different space, and I don't think that he's going out there thinking that, because no performer, no professional athlete goes into a situation thinking that they losing. he's the fastest man in the world. He's thinking he's winning. But what's the positives and the negatives, right? If Tyreke loses to me, he's supposed to lose.
Yep.
Right. So what's in it for me? A small bag? No, thank you.
Yeah.
You can keep that. You know what I'm saying? And I'd rather you keep thinking or making the public whatever y'all want to think. And man, we wish we want to see it. Maybe not right now. Maybe when I'm at the end of it, then if he still's running, then I'll do it. But right now, there's nothing in it for him. That's positive. So why do it?
Is that a thing in the NBA?
Absolutely.
Not general speaking. I'm talking about actually racing.
No, I mean in the NBA, man, you kind of know who's the speedster guys. Like nobody's worrying about I'm faster than you because that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right? The thing is,
it's more 1v1.
Is the skill set there? Can I get these guys to buy into what we're doing? Can I beat you? Like,
yeah.
You know, when I played, it was Allen Iverson was the fastest thing going. We wasn't. Who we racing?
I was just gonna ask, was he legitimately the fastest guy that you?
Without question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's for sure. All right then. Let me see here. No, that was the other one. All right, that was the only other one I had. Oh no, I knew I had two. Okay. So you got this South Carolina quarterback here, Lenore Sellers. He turned down an $8 million NIL offers from other programs to remain with the South Carolina Gamecocks. His dad talked him out of it, says, you're 19. You don't need $8 million. We came here to get our education and play. Now, this is totally different than what we've seen from these other like young athletes here. And you got this father stepping in. Should he have left for more money? $8 million? I mean, I know it depends on your personal situations and stuff.
Yeah.
But just ideology-wise.
I would think that a 19-year-old who was raised by his father would have instilled in him already the ability to decipher things and make tough decisions on his own. Like, that's a tough decision that you now are moving in. 19 is not grown. I think every man here at this table would admit, 19, you're still a child that still needs guidance, but at the same
I just got grown last year, 35.
Yeah, right, exactly.
You're a late bloomer.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a personal choice. Like, you know, what you decide. $8 million is a lot of money. I don't care what people are talking about. $8 million is a lot of money. Right. And so it's one of those things where that's life-altering and life-changing money. Right. So an education can be bought with $8 million, and you know what I mean. Like, in some degree, you can go online, you can take your time and get the same education that you were getting, and have that financial stability. Right. So, me personally, I would instruct as a father of 5 sons. I think my sons wouldn't have had it already. He wouldn't have even called me. It would have been like, "Hey, Dad, I just signed for 8." You know what I'm saying? I think I raised my boys the right way. Yeah.
I hate the way that story is positioned. It's $8 million offer. Well, tell us, what is he making at South Carolina? Is he making 5? Is he making 6.5? Is he making 1?
Yeah.
The context of that's drastically different. If you get $1 million at South Carolina and 8 a year, if you're getting 6 here and they're offering 8, it's different. But I mean, again, what is the long-term play here? Does he feel that his development and opportunity at South Carolina to be a better quarterback is better than whatever that other school is offering?
Right.
That's, to me, I would be looking at that if that's my son, is what's going to make you better, as an NFL guy, as an NFL prospect, because that's the long-term goal.
For full context, his current NIL deal is 3.7.
3.7. Okay, so over double.
That's a big difference.
That's a big difference.
And my question would be, where did the $8 million come from?
Yeah.
What school?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that matters.
They said it's several schools.
Right.
Yeah.
So but that does matter.
If my son had an $8 million deal on the table, and it was to a school that wasn't going to benefit his overall skill set, then we wouldn't go there. But 9 times out of 10, college sports has now become like NFL. Like, if they pay you $8 million, they're gonna put some people around you.
Yeah.
And they're gonna make a skill set that's beneficial to what you do best, so that you can do it. And we all know that, although we don't play necessarily for the money, but you only have a small window to make as much money as you possibly can in the sports realm. So turning down $8 million at that specific time to be in college, I could only imagine making $8 million when I was at the University of South Florida, right?
You would have been at Mons Venus a lot, right?
Every night. I'd have been at Mons Venus every night. And I probably wouldn't have went to class because I'd have been playing somebody to go to my class.
Pay the strippers. Give me a
So-
lap dance. Go take a test for me.
So that's a big pill to swallow.
Make yourself
I commend
useful.
them for being able to make that type of judgment, that type of decision.
For sure.
But at the end of the day, like, how does that young man feel? Was he in agreement with it? Was he not in agreement with it? Is it something that he's going to look back and say, man, I wish I had taken that? Or, you know what I'm saying? So, like, that's something that we'll wait to see how it plays out.
There's got to be some level of reverence for
Right.
his father, though, because at the end of the day, at 19, he could have legally made his own decision. Like, he could have legally signed it himself
sure. The
and everything.
father's
So he had some
influential on that.
reverence for his father to some degree, which I can
also,
respect.
I respect that, but also at the same time, like as a parent, I want my kid to make those tough decisions. Right? Leave me out of it. You do what you feel is best for you. Now, if you want my opinion, I'll tell you about it. But $8 million is a lot for a 19-year-old. Is a lot to turn down.
Yeah.
Facts.
Right? For college sports. Like, at that particular time, you're thinking of it like this, like, as a former college athlete, ain't no more classes. I'm specifically sports-specific training all day for my skill set, for my I'm paying somebody to go to class. I'm not going.
Yeah, either
Everything's
that or
on-
fluff courses.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like that's, and we'll see how it play out, you know, because years from now, it could be, man, I ain't listen to my dad, man, I should have did this and I should have did that. You know what I'm saying? So it's not.
If it don't pan out,
right.
you know, especially like
Yeah,
NFL wise.
Right.
Yeah, you might wish you had to make.
So, you know, I
right.
hope it works out for him.
No, for sure. All right, you're still on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. Don't forget we have Ace League in here. Will Lee, a director of Ace League, and we got Chucky Atkins here. Chucky, man, I want to ask you some things here, man. All right, before we get you guys off the show. All right, because again, man, like I say, we from the same place, so I hear all of these stories growing up. Okay. But with the age gap, I never came across you. You know what I mean? To ask you these things here. All right, now. Homegrown from Orlando, okay. When did you know that the NBA was actually in play? Because you go to USF first of all, and also, you know, did you have other opportunities outside of USF? And then the second end of that question is, when did you know that the NBA was in play?
Well, after my freshman year at USF, at that particular time, people wasn't supposed to contact you and talk to you. Right, but I had an opportunity to transfer due to an illegal conversation that I had. But at that point in time, and I really wasn't going nowhere, USF was really perfect for me. I was only an hour away from home. My coach, Bobby Pascal, put the ball in my hands and allowed me to pretty much do what I needed to do to make myself or put myself on the map on a national level. I knew that the NBA was in play for me in like 89, 90, when the Orlando Magic came to the city, right?
And where were you, like high school, college?
So 89, I was in high school, right? And then right around 91, going into my senior year, I was able to start playing with the Magic, some of the guys with the Magic. And I remember the first guy I ever played against was that point guard by the name of Marlon Wiley. I played against Marlon Wiley and I played against D. Brown.
Okay.
And I was nervous as shit because I was just like,
D. Brown that was in the dunk contest?
yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, damn, I'm finna play against two NBA pros. And I'm thinking in my head, basketball is totally different, right? It took me about 4 or 5 trips up and down the court to realize, damn, this is just like playing against anybody else that I played against, right? So then that's when I was like, oh, okay. And I remember coming down and making a little move and pulling up for a jump shot and making it. And I'm like, oh, shit. oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
The rules still apply.
It still applies.
Yep.
Right? And then, you know, you think of that. I was like going into my senior year and then going to USF. after my freshman year, after my sophomore year, and I'm getting bigger and I'm getting stronger. These guys are already pros, right? So I'm coming to my own. So I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that. I think I can do what they do. And that's kind of when I came into my own and was like, yeah, I think I can be a pro, right? And then you start playing against all these other guys in NCAA that they were talking about, and their name, and they're supposed to be the next guys to be on the pro level. And I'm saying, well, hey man, what about me?
Okay.
Right. So that's kind of how things kind of panned out, you know. And I thought that I was going to have an easier road, but it didn't work out that way, you know. So, you know, you have to buckle down and you have to figure out if this is something that you want to do or not.
Facts. Now, before we get to professionally, when we were off air, I had asked you about some guys here locally that you played against, and I just want to get them some luck. Those guys still follow, you know, me on social media and follow the podcast. So if you could go back over some of those names again, the guys locally that you were playing against that you thought that had a good game, growing up locally. Yeah.
When I was coming up, man, I came up under Johnny Benjamin. I came up under Tater Bread. I came up under Donovan Williams. I came up under Gerald Bowman, one of the top players around here. Ivan Jones. Who else? Corey Chandler. Terreno Walker. Corey Walker. Eric Atkins.
Now you told me a name here, Scooby. And I didn't think you was gonna say Scooby.
Willie Fisher. All those guys over there at Oak Ridge, like at that point in time, the Metro Conference was the best conference in Central Florida, man. And I grew up and was able to watch those guys and study those guys and try to implement myself into, you know, I wanted to be one of the best guys around here, man. So that's kind of how I did it. Tony Atkins, Willie Anderson, Marquise Gainers, Marquise Daniels. All of those guys were guys that I was either a little bit older than, or a lot of those other guys were a little bit older than I was, and I was just always in the atmosphere, bro. And
did you come across Marquise at all?
Marquise was like this.
No, I'm saying like age-wise.
I was a little bit, I think I'm a year or two older than Marquise.
Okay, that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we used to work out and train together. Me, him, and Scipio and Willie Anderson, and man, we had a whole lot of guys around here, bro. That was ballers, that was hoopers, bro.
And what was the school there, basketball-wise, back then?
Back then, I mean, you pick it. Edgewater, Oak Ridge.
Oh, everybody
Jones,
had guys.
Boone, Evans. Like everybody was nice.
Okay.
If you had an off night, you just lost. You know what I'm saying?
It ain't like that now.
No, it ain't like that now. But back then, man, everybody had a whip, man. Dr. Phillips had a whip. Like I said, like it was great.
You had an off night, you lost.
You had an off night, you lost.
All right, now did you get drafted?
I didn't get drafted.
Okay, so what was that like? So
that was the worst day of my life.
Did you think you were going to get drafted?
I thought I was going to get drafted. Yes, absolutely. Because you got to think now, going into my senior year, I was on the World USA team, and the team looked like Allen Iverson, Ray Allen, Kerry Kittles, Tim Duncan, Othello Harrington, Ed O'Bannon, Charles O'Bannon, Lorenzen Wright. Jason Lawson out of Villanova, Brian Evans, Jared Haas, and myself.
Chucky Atkins.
And myself. And if I showed you a picture of the list of guys that was on that USA team that year, I was the only guy that didn't get drafted on the whole team.
That's crazy.
So I was like, you know, every practice that we had. So we went to Colorado Springs and tried out. It was the who's who of college basketball. I'm talking about across the board: Duke, North Carolina, Michigan State, Michigan, everybody, Stanford. Right? We're sitting there in a gym up in Colorado Springs, and all 29 teams is watching us work out, and I'm playing against Stephon Marbury. I'm playing against Allen Iverson. I'm playing against all these guys in front of the scouts, and I'm holding my own. And then at the end of the camp, we need 12 guys. I'm one of the 12 guys out of the 100 guys that was there.
Whoa.
So that means I'm doing something, right?
Yeah.
Right? So then we leave there and we have training camp at the University of Florida because Lon Kruger was our coach.
Okay.
Right? So I go to the University of Florida, again, all 29 teams there. Now it's condensed to 12 guys. It's me and AI battling every day because he the starter and I'm the backup guy. Exactly. So after I left there, we went to gold medal in Japan. You know, absolutely. I'm going into my senior season thinking I'm one of the top dogs in the country, right? So, but it didn't work out that way, man. And you know, God had a plan.
Did you ever get any feedback as to why you fell out of the draft or anything like that?
I never asked. Honestly, I watched the draft at my grandmother's house with my girlfriend, and when it didn't happen, we jumped in the car and we took off. As a matter of fact, I don't even think I even finished watching the draft. I think we watched the first round, and after the first round, me and her took off, and I think the very next call I got was from Pat Riley asking me to come down to Miami Heat camp, which was like 2 days later, and the rest is history, bro.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I missed that last one. Which camp before you got?
As soon as the draft was over with, is when the summer leagues kind of started. Yeah. So the Miami Heat asked me to come down there and work out for those guys. And Pat Riley put on a camp to where it was just grueling, bro. It's like we didn't even touch a basketball for like the first practice. All we did was run.
For real?
Right.
Yeah, that conditioning thing.
Miami Heat.
So I went down there and guys was throwing up and guys was walking off the court, and you know, in between the first practice, Pat wouldn't allow you to go to back to your hotel room. He brought out cots and we was laying on the court, sleeping in between practices, and I was like, "The hell is this? Like, is this pro basketball?" So that's kind of, but I understand where he was coming from because he was trying to figure out. He was trying to figure out who wanted it and who didn't. So you know, once you get through that and you start understanding, you know,
it was like boot camp.
It was boot camp, but you know, guys weed themselves out.
Yeah, and that's what happened. But you always felt like you was in tip-top shape. Anyway.
I always felt like I belonged. I don't care what it was.
Whatever it was.
You know what I'm saying? One of the best things that happened to me throughout the course of my career was, although I didn't get drafted, I had to play against every single body that thought that it was the next guy that was going to make it. So when I had my opportunity, it wasn't a situation of, yeah, man, you might be this or you didn't this, I just and the other. No, bro, I played against everybody. I went to the CBA. This is not the G League. This is the CBA, where you had to get quarter points. Every quarter you had to win. Whatever the team was, you won points. Right? You didn't win. You didn't go. You got 3 or 4 points for winning the game, and every quarter was a point. So every quarter meant something.
Oh, okay.
You felt what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then when I left there, I went to Europe and played over in Europe against David. What's his name? Played at Notre Dame. David Rivers. And Dominique Wilkins. So I'm putting up numbers against those guys, so you can't tell me anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So when I got my opportunity, it was like, let's go. We rolling. We ready.
How did you get your opportunity in the league?
So I got my opportunity by, they used to always call me when they were thinking about bringing guys in that they were going to draft. So, hey, man, we're getting ready to draft these guys. We got to bring these guys in. They bring all the point guards in. They would bring me in.
Okay.
I felt like this was my opportunity to play in front of the who's who of the Orlando Magic organization.
Right.
And there's no, you don't have to play no role. It's just me against you, and we finna play. And this is my opportunity. So guess what I'm finna do? I'm finna put in some work.
Okay. And eventually out of that, you got to.
I got it.
Okay. What would you say?
Hold on, man. I got to use the bathroom.
Oh, you do? This whole segment about you now.
You just lost the subject of the
Corona's
segment.
running through.
Oh, that's
Don't
funny.
forget the Ace League.
Yes, by all means. We there. We rolling, baby.
You know what I'm
no
saying?
question.
That's hysterical.
Yeah.
I did have one quick one, but I'm not gonna play the video. But it's this show that they got out. It's called Hollywood Demons. Y'all heard about that?
No, I ain't watching nothing that says nothing.
No. It's not like that. But it's like young stars in Hollywood. You know how you would have in shows and movies 3-year-olds,
Yeah.
5-year-olds,
And their
2-year-olds,
drug addictions and all
7-year-olds.
that stuff, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then they turn around and as whenever they get older, it's crazy because
They're a
they
mess.
turn out to be whatever, like you say, drug addicts or even some are murderers or whatever. And it's just crazy because they're tying it to the early success that they had
For sure.
in their film career.
Well, see, here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize about actors and then just society in general. These actors are nothing but human beings pretending to be somebody that they're not for our entertainment.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's what, yeah.
Like, really think about what I'm saying there.
Nah, that's-
You never have any self-identity, especially at a young age. If you're an actor, you are playing a character to the point where, for our greatest actors, they immerse themselves so much into a character they become set character.
Yeah.
Like, you remember Jamie Foxx from Ray? He literally glued his eyes shut for that movie and had to start developing his other senses. That's a real thing, and that's what was the other guy from that played the Joker, Heath Ledger?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they said that he got so immersed in that playing that psychotic role that it started causing him real demons in his real life. So now he's not able to separate reality from who he is.
I think definitely on the adult side. I think on the younger side, it's somewhat different issues because you kind of come up and you get a certain degree of celebrity or fame, and then it's like you kind of age out of what you were at some point. And while you're doing that, you missed all these sort of like benchmark experiences that the rest of us go through, whether it's school,
Developmental
neighborhood
stages,
friends,
Sweet
developmental
16 and all
stages,
that.
and then like you have this super crazy identity crisis, and maybe you kind of like fall off and you're not getting jobs, and now you're just going to be a regular kid again, and you're not equipped to do that. And especially like just emotionally, developmentally, it's a crazy, devastating environment to exist in.
No, it is. Chuck,
What's up, buddy?
what is the highlight of your NBA career? What do you look back on and say, "Damn, that was dope"?
The dopest thing that I can say about my NBA career was, one, just meeting the people that I met. You know what I'm saying? Being a fan of the NBA and being out there on the court. I can remember my first NBA game, man, and when I got out there, like, my dad used to bring me shoes when I was in high school, in middle school, right? He brought me a pair of orange and blue quarter top Adidas Patrick Ewings.
I remember them 33 specials.
Right. So one of the first games I played against Patrick Ewing.
Oh,
and
damn.
I'm on the court and I'm going, damn, that's Patrick Ewing, bro. Like, you know how dope that was for me to even think about that. And then you, in the middle of it, it was like, you got to snap out of that, bro, because you competing out here. You got to win, right? So to me, that was one of the dopest things. Being able to do some of the things that I was able to do for my family because of the game of basketball, being able to go places that I probably would have never been able to go because of the game of basketball, being able to be coached by some of the greatest coaches that have ever, coached the game.
Yeah.
To me, man, those experiences are something that I could never duplicate.
Facts.
And you ever experience something that you always want, like man, that was so cool. Like, I want everybody to experience that. Like, that's kind of how I feel about my experience, right? Yeah. Man, it was so cool to where, like, when I talk to a little kid, it's like, hey, look, man, like, hey, bro, if you can get this accomplished, you can get this done, bro, you should do it. That's how I feel about it, and I think it's unfair to look at the younger generation of kids and younger generation of players and critique them, although we all do it, but I think it's a hell of an accomplishment for anybody to get to the level that I've reached, and I'm a fan of everybody's. You know what I mean? So to me, that was the dopest thing that happened, and I'll go to the grave saying that.
That's what's up. I got two more for you.
Talk to me.
What's a player in the NBA that gave you problems that a lot of people may not respect like that on that level?
Ooh, bro. Those guys are so good to where you don't have really. There's no such thing as an off night, right? Because there's a guy that you never heard of that a lot of people don't know that'll give you the business, right? I played against a guy by the name of Flip Murray.
Flip Murray, that name sound real familiar.
Flip
Purdue,
Murray.
wasn't it?
No,
not Purdue.
No, he went to I think it was Shaw University.
Oh.
Okay.
Right, HBCU.
Shout out to HBCUs.
Cold blooded.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, unorthodox game, but was cold. Right. Andre Miller.
Oh
right?
yeah, the professor.
Nobody talks about Andre Miller today.
Nah, not like that. Not like
Bro,
they should.
No.
Bro
Not like they should.
was cold blooded, man.
Yeah.
Strong.
Great
had a
vision.
Great vision. Had a huge basketball IQ. Chewed bubblegum the whole time. He playing like he wasn't even interested in the game, but would be out there killing.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then, your quote unquote off night may be a Charlie Ward. Right.
Shout out to Charlie.
But Charlie Ward
Go Knowles.
Cool, calm, collected, composed, ain't gonna give you no idea of when you're getting the best of him, but just solid, professional, gonna kill, right? You can't leave him open. Got a high basketball IQ. Every time you make a mistake, you're gonna pay for it. Like, those guys are the guys that nobody really talks about, but it's definitely appreciated.
Exactly.
Charlie had to be a different beast, though. I mean, to be the Heisman winner
Bro.
in football, but then turn it to be a solid NBA player.
But here's another
That's a
here's
different
here's
beast.
another oddity. My freshman year at Florida State, he was the punter.
Bro.
What?
Yeah.
So he was the punter and quarterback?
No, he was a punter as a freshman. There was
Oh.
2 other guys before, so he didn't start to his junior year. But like he was just an athlete, a guy who did
That
stuff.
shows, that's
just
another,
crazy.
that's another gear there.
Watching him, like, because I was at Florida State pretty much his whole career, and like he just was one of those guys that the biggest impression I had watching him is he is the type of guy that, like, whatever sport you're playing, he's just gonna figure out how to be better than you.
Absolutely.
Like just natural gifts of, poise, athleticism, and just like
But you
could just
have-
figure it out.
You have so many good guys, man. Brevin Knight.
Yeah.
Brevin Knight play defense and he don't even bend his knees. He's standing straight up. He watching. You got. I mean, the list is long, bro.
Yeah, to make it to that level, you're
All
already
those
different,
guys.
Like,
and
you
you're
got-
disciplined.
Yeah.
See, that's the
all
part.
them guys-
That's
all
what
them
I
guys
respect the
bring
most about
something
y'all.
to the table, bro. Like they're gym rats, and that's what a lot of these young kids have to understand. Like, bro, you got to put in a lot of time to be where these guys at. I watch kids these days. The first thing they do is they walk in the gym and they shoot a 3. The first shot they shoot when they get in the gym, and I'm like, bro, what you doing? I'm shooting a 3. Yeah, bro, you shooting a 3. Who you want to be? I want to be Steph Curry, bro. Steph Curry done shot that thing 3 million times. 3 million times.
Literally. Like,
Right.
literally.
Like, he done shot that ball like, literally 3 million times.
In NBA arenas,
Right?
since a child.
You just coming in the gym and you shooting the ball 2 or 3 times and they all 3s and you ain't even practicing it. So, guys like Bryce Drew and Steve Nash and John Stockton and, those are the greats, but you got a lot of guys that, bro, you ain't never heard of that's just like cold-blooded.
Will Bynum was like that. Oh my God.
I hear he was like sneaky
he-
athletic.
Oh,
like,
there ain't no sneaky.
ain't no sneaky about it.
He'll put it on your head. He'll put it on your
Yeah,
head.
because he ain't number like maybe what, 6 foot, 6'1",
Yeah,
6'2",
no, he was
something
number
that.
like 6 foot even. You know what I'm saying? He was a
Yeah.
brother of one of my partners, man, back at school, and he was just a different beast. Yeah,
Will
man.
was
Yeah,
tough,
man.
right?
Yeah, he was different.
I mean, all those guys are so great. And it'd be funny to me a lot of times listening to people talk because people be acting like, oh, man, he trash. Oh, that guy, and I'm like, bro, the last guy on the NBA roster will walk into any gym and set it on fire.
And
Don't
Brian
get it-
Scalabrine did that, didn't he?
Don't
Yeah.
get it twisted because a lot of times when you see these guys on these NBA teams, they play roles,
Yeah.
right? But you don't realize that Brian Scalabrine led USC in scoring while he was there,
I didn't know.
right? Patrick Beverly is a cold killer.
Yeah,
he
I
averaged
heard
like 30 back in
38
high
points in
school.
high
Yeah.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I didn't believe it.
Yeah,
I didn't believe
right,
it. But
Right?
I heard
These
that.
guys be killers, bro.
Yeah.
But they get on
Chicago,
NBA teams.
too.
They get on NBA teams and they figure it out. Hey man, listen, man. They paying him to score. They paying him to do this. How can I stay around? Oh, I gotta play defense. All right, so that's what I do.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, And that's how they earn their living.
And that's how they earn
Smart
their
on them.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, I can't let you get out of here without asking you about Kobe, your
Okay.
experience with Kobe.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about it. And where were you at in your career when you got over there?
So when I got to Kobe, when I played with the Lakers, I was coming off a really good season in Boston. I had just got traded from the Pistons. That was the year the Pistons won it, the year that they beat the
Kobe and
Lakers.
them?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that year, I played with the Pistons up until the trade deadline, and I got traded to Boston. And then when I got to Boston, we were like in the 12th seed, and we ended up making the playoffs and losing to Indiana in the first round.
Okay.
And then that year, I got traded to the Lakers.
Who were some of those guys on that Boston team? Because I can't remember that.
It was
back then.
myself. It was Paul Pierce.
Okay,
Antoine
Paul was
there?
there. Paul was there.
Antoine was gone.
He
It
was
was
gone.
myself, Paul Pierce, Mark Blunt, Walter McCarty, Ricky Davis.
Okay.
Okay.
Shout out to Ricky.
You know, those guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So, we ended up getting beat in the first round of the playoffs, and then over the summer, I ended up getting traded to the Lakers for Gary Payton. And
After that, they fell
right,
short.
they just lost, right?
Yeah, okay.
So, me and Kobe had our little run in during the course of the year that year. It really wasn't no run in. It was just, two competitors competing, and talking trash to each other, and then I ended up getting traded to the Lakers. So
That's how crazy the NBA is.
right.
Right.
So I ended up walking into the weight room thinking, I didn't know what he was gonna say. And he was lifting weights, with his trainer, and he was like, "Hey bro, welcome to the Lakers." Like, that's what's up. And then I remember the first day we had training camp in San Diego, me and him was sitting out in the foyer talking, and he was telling me stuff about, his goals as a player, and we ended up having a team meet, and then me and him jumped in his car and went to PF Chang's in San Diego and sat down and ate and had a good time. And he was interesting guy. And as I got more and more in tune and got to know him more, he was a savant, a basketball player at heart, extremely intelligent individual, and a killer. You know what I'm saying? Everything that people said about him was true. A lot of it was kind of misconstrued in a way because, one thing about Kobe was when he was laid back in an atmosphere like this right here, he was really, really cool. When cameras came on, he turned into character. He became the Mamba.
Okay.
Right? And, he was driven by being the best, which, most greats are.
Facts.
So that was never in question. I think with him, you got to understand, I played with him the first year he had played without Shaq. So
that was the first year without Shaq?
That was the first year he
that's
had
that
played.
05 season,
Right. So that was the first year that he had played without Shaq. So I think he was learning a lot from being a guy who didn't necessarily have to say much to being that leader that he eventually became.
Gotcha.
So that was the Kobe that I had played with.
Facts.
I can't speak to, when I was with him, we and him were close. We talked a lot. We spoke to each other a lot. I sat in the seat in front of him. He always sat in the very back of the bus. I sat right in front of him, and we had a cool relationship, man.
Oh, that's what's up. That constitutes as that story that I was talking about.
Right.
That's it.
So that's
a great one.
That was my relationship with him. And one thing that I always respected about him was if you put in the work, he respected you.
Yeah.
Right. He never talked down on nobody if you was putting in the work. But also on the other hand, if you didn't put in the work, you're gonna feel the wrath.
I had a question for you that you don't have to answer, and I hate that I have to preference it like that.
Okay.
But why did he hate Smush Parker so much?
I don't know, and I can't speak to that.
Okay,
because
okay.
I wasn't in Smush's in his shoes, so I can't speak to that.
Yeah,
That's a big
okay.
question you have to ask him. But as far as my relationship with him,
Yeah.
we always had dialogue with each other. We always spoke. I mean, if you look at the pictures on Getty Images of me and him, we would sit next to each other.
Yeah.
He got pictures of him hugging me. Like, that was my man.
Yeah.
You know, and to the point to where even I had a relationship with him even when I wasn't on the Lakers team. I remember playing in Memphis, and he had 50 points, and he was on a roll for 50-point games.
Oh, that was one. Okay.
Right, and I called him. I was like, bro, I said, bro, you on a roll? What you gonna do? He's like, if the jump shot falling, they gonna get 50 tomorrow too. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, me and him had a cool relationship, and that was my guy. Like, to this day, like I said, man, I think that he's number 2 on my list.
Yeah.
Behind LeBron, I got you.
No, behind Michael. So, you know.
Let me tell y'all something, man. I really appreciate y'all coming through, man.
Absolutely.
Anytime, bro.
Real talk, man. I really appreciate
Anytime,
y'all
bro.
coming through.
Sure
You bought the home team, man. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, man.
And so I
Totally.
appreciate y'all, man. So one more time, let them know about the Ace before we get out of here, man.
Man, June 23rd, man. June 23rd, this upcoming Monday, it is going down. Like I said, come out city. We're going to be sitting there doing it big. You know, great games, great family and fun experience. It's $10 at the door, or you can buy your season pass for that $25,
Right.
and that's for adults. Kids are always free. So, like I said, by all means, come on in. And like I said, we're going to be doing this for about a month and a half this summer, and it's going to be fun. Let's get it.
That's right. And I appreciate y'all, all y'all comments. Coach, you see I got to the Kobe question. Come on now. You know I do this for a living. You know I was going to get there. All right. And shout out to Kobe and our new commenters, too, coming just for Chucky. Say US alumni here, USF legend. So shout out to USF in the building, too. Okay? And we'll catch the rest of y'all
Go
next
Bulls.
week, man. Next week on the bench.
Yes, sir. Shout out to the pod, baby.